This is what this course is all about. This is the dreaded Old Snake. It's a ski resort, and you guessed it, they run at the ski resort. But before we get into that, let's have a look at the standings of the women after the opening 1,400-meter swim and 38-kilometer bike course. Jones, well, she's nearly 2 minutes behind, and Schaefer is closing. She's under 2 minutes behind Jones is Schaefer, so it's all to do on this course. So this is the Snake. This is our leader, Stephen Foster. And what about the run?
And the run? In my opinion, this is one of the toughest in the sport, especially for short distance. You got to climb up the Schwankopf twice, and it's really tough. It brings out the rest of you in the end of the race, and you don't have to forget descending, because this is really tough for the legs. And you have to run fast on the flat.
Well, I think Wolfgang really should have said it brings out the best in you. And this is the best at the moment. This is Stephen Foster having a helping hand with the banners at the side. Well, he did run up it, though we don't see that very often. Lessing had to walk up it last year on 2 occasions on the 2 laps, as did this woman, Karen Smyer. She's perfected the granny walk, as she calls it, up the dreaded Old Snake. This is the run, 10 kilometers, 2 laps of 5 kilometers. Run slightly different this year because we're not allowed through right in the center of Seefeld. There's a bit of a high society wedding going on, and for security reasons they've closed off part of the town, and in fact they've made the course tougher. There's Jeff Devlin going through. He's in second place now. He's overtaken Roland Canol, and it looks as though Jimmy Riccitello here really has the walking going at the moment, doesn't it? Look at this. This really does show how tough it is. The thighs are burning. Oh, they're glad. That's a great relief to get over the top. The problem is they've got to do it all again. This is the descent that Katnick was talking about, and there he is in the back. He's now just a little bit behind Norbert Dominic, should I say. So they really are having a great tussle here. Dominic finished 5th last year, and Katnick 6th. And I think there's a lot of pride at stake for who is the best Austrian at the main Austrian race. It's Seefeld here, the mountain man. Looks as though Peter Zandvang is just off the pace a little bit. Peter Zandvang's just come off a win. He won the final of the Deutsches Bundesliga in Riederau in those dreadful conditions that hit Europe just a week or so before the Mountain Man. Well, this is a little unusual, isn't it? Foster's having to fight with the cows. Look at this. I've never seen this before here at Mountain Man. I've seen them up at the Wildmoose at the top, but they're even grazing down at the bottom here around the lake. Well, that is funny. Well, Smyers now, she's stretching away. She's coming towards that dreaded Old Snake. There's the lovely old Seefeld church. Dates back, what, 3 or 4 centuries? And it's a little unusual. You don't see that twin spire, or certainly not that type of design, very often in Austria. So there she is. She looks up to the Schwankopf ski slope, and that's what she's got to climb up. I think the only consolation is they don't have to go right to the top. But, well, we caught up with Smars and asked her about racing.
It's hard to be up for every single race. The season's awfully long. If I do 12 races a year, I don't really want to race McKinley all 12. But it's nice when we have a few matchups a year where we're both really, you know, looking to be on, because I always know it's going to be a hard race if she's in the field. And so, yeah, I do. I mean, she definitely brings out the best in me, I think. You know I can't have a weakness if I'm racing her and expect to beat her. So in that regard, yeah, I think she's definitely made me work harder in the last couple of years and made me excited about racing.
Well, if she looks back down through the Snake, she'll see Jones is just starting it as she comes to the top. This is Smyers. You can really see how tough this climb is. Just imagine, in the winter, you're skiing down this, now they're running up it. Tremendous support, though, and that really is good for the athletes. If it was just by yourselves out here, this would be dreadful. But a lot of pride at stake with all these people watching. They've got to keep going, even when it gets going extremely tough as it is on this dreaded Old Snake. It's about, well, the actual distance is something like 400 meters, but it's something like 1 in 4. 100-meter vertical climb in about 400 meters, and that really is tough. There's nothing like this in the sport. And as we saw at the head of the program, this really is the race of truth. There's nowhere to hide on this course. Even how embarrassed you are at walking, you've got to walk. There aren't many people in this race who can actually run up the slope. And as Devlin said, if it was just this run, it wouldn't be so bad. But bear in mind, they've had one heck of a tough bike course before they've come on this. They've swum, they've biked, and now running and occasionally walking. This is the descent. Really does play havoc on the thighs. He does rip the muscles apart. Uta Schaefer in third position. Good performance. Another good performance by Uta Schaefer, the German champion a couple of years ago, the 29-year-old from Bayreuth in Germany. As Foster just starts his second lap now. This will be the finish next time round. Here's the old Klosterboy monastery. It's now a beautiful hotel, and in fact that's where that high society wedding reception is going on just at this moment. So if he turned right there, could have gone and had a quick drop of the old champers instead of a quick drop of the old water on the way round. And this is the lovely little climb they've put in just as a sort of sting in the tail. But Foster's now coming up towards the snake for the second, and for him, the last time. Others have got it all to do, but for Foster, the 30-year-old Australian really does love the mountains. Won the old Embrun race down in the French Alps a couple of occasions, and he beat Lessing up the Alpe d'Huez at the last race in the Iron Tour last year. But in fact, Lessing got his own back when he beat him on the final 10-kilometre run at the top. So that must be one of the toughest bike climbs in the sport, and this is certainly one of the toughest runs. This is Wendy Ingram, and right behind Kirsten Wühler, and it's who can walk the quickest up this final slope. This is right in the distance. You can see Stephen Foster coming through. He's been racing for Aix-en-Provence for a couple of years, and they were second in the club championships of France last year. Knoll now has gone back into second place. Devlin has paid the penalty for pushing too hard too early on the run. Knoll said he was going to take it fairly easy on this on the first lap and get going on the second lap. And if he's going to win, he's going to get going a little harder, because Foster's now using the banners once again. If we look down through, we can see Knoll and Devlin right at the bottom. Knoll's about halfway up, so you've got Devlin, Knoll, and Foster just going over the top. So it's fairly compressed, but of course, this really is a tough climb. Katnick mentioned the descent. This is the descent, and looks like Kirsten Wühler is a little quicker on the descent than Wendy Ingram. I'm not sure if it's totally controlled running on the descent for Wühler, but she's certainly nice and relaxed as she goes down through. And if we look up through, we'll see Foster coming down in lead position. I don't know what he's chewing. There we are. Someone knows him. Come on, Steve. First time here, and is it going to be his first time winning? This is tremendous by Foster, and also Knoll. Considering Knoll hasn't had a great winter of training, he really is doing the business here today. Knoll is in second place for the second consecutive year. The surprise was to me last year when he finished second, and he's going to do it again, so it seems, unless Jeff Devlin gets his skates on behind him. This is Devlin. But you can see Devlin, I think he's resigned the fact that he's going to finish third in this race. You can see Knoll, though, he's not that far behind. Second for the woman is McKeely Jones. Well, that's Almiro Nubio. He's the race director of the Santos race on the GPT Tour. He's come over here with a group of 25 Brazilians. That's the first race on the tour. Smires now. We saw the Cloisterburg Monastery. Oh, she just run that, and there's a little descent now. She's got a bit of a flat piece before she heads up to the dreaded old snake for the last time for her. So just to reiterate, it's Jones in second position, and leading at the moment in the women's race is Smires with Uta Schaefer in third position and Kirsten Wühler in fourth, with Wendy Ingram in fifth. So it's the final climb for Smires, and I'm sure she'll be glad about that. But for Foster, I mentioned it's his first time here. In fact, he only came here a couple of days before the race. He had a quick look around the course the day before, and he's come here and looks as though he's going to be the mountain man. He's going to take over the mantle of Simon Lessing, the professional champion for 1996. The 30-year-old from Melbourne, Victoria, lives in Aix-en-Provence. Stephen Foster, the mountain man. That's Julius Scammon, the race director, who's put this race on tremendously for the last 4 years. He says it's going to be his last time, but I don't think so. This is Scammon's race, This is his Mountain Man. In his second position for the second consecutive year, Roland Canol. What a tremendous race for Canol. That's another surprise for me. He did it last year, and he did it again this year. Well, good performance. Third position was...
No, I'm pretty happy, yeah. A friend of mine back in France had a dream the other night that I'd do really well, but they didn't tell me how well I'd do, and so I felt pretty confident, but definitely a race for me. A lot of the other races around the world, they're flat, they're drafting. It comes down to who can run well on the day, but a race here, it's a race of truth, so to speak. You can't hide on a race like this. You can't hide in a pack and draft, so I knew that my form was coming along quite well now, and I knew that if I get off the bike with a decent lead, and if some of the faster runners like Jeff Devlin weren't running too fast, then I might be able to hang on for a win.
Well, he did just that. In fact, Devlin did finish third, so Foster, Canol and Devlin for the men, and for the women, for the third time in 4 years, it's going to be Karen Smyers. She's been the Mountain Woman in 1993 and 1994. She lost the race and the professional title to McKeely Jones last year, but in 1996, it's Karen Smyers. Great performance by the American. I think she'll really be pleased with that. It really does wrap up her European leg. 3 races, 3 wins. Marseille, the German opener, now the professional title in Mountain Man. And McKeely Jones, well, she's got to be satisfied with second place this year. She'll be a little disappointed, more disappointed for losing once again to Karen Smyers.
Yeah, I'm really psyched. I really like this course, and I know that it should be a good course for me, so I was hoping this year to be able to come and at least give McKeely a good race, because I felt like I didn't quite perform as well as I wanted to last year, so had a little, revenge.
Well, she certainly did that. These are the results, but the standings of the Pro Tour after Mountain Man, the Pro titles. McKeely Jones still heads the tour with 420. Uta Schaefer in second place, and Karen Smyers is in third position with 230 points. These are the men's results. Don't really affect the standings that much. Alec Rukasev, the Russian, is still leading with 235. Wes Hobson, the American, second. And Stephen Foster, though, with this win here, which is a 1.5 scorer, 150 points, he's now in third position. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the 1996 Mountain Man, the Professional Championships here in Seefeld, Austria. Next race on the tour is Chicago, and you'll also see that here on Eurosport. Well, this is Ian Sweet wishing you well. See you next time here on Eurosport.